let me walk through, pragmatically, how you can convey information, lots of information, in different ways. And so we're going to unpack a storyline here. So in the next slide, you're probably used to thinking about different measures as being correlated, or you want to show the degree to which they're correlated. One way of doing that is through a scatter plot. So this slide shows Illinois county level information for 2018 third quarter. And what it shows is the percent change in employment for each county. So that's each point here is a county. And then what it is plotted against is the percent change in total payroll. So what you see here is that at the bottom end, there are some counties in which, not surprisingly, they have negative employment growth and negative total payroll growth. At the top end, there are some counties that have very high employment growth and very high payroll growth. And then, but most counties, so the storyline here is that most counties don't see a whole lot of change in either employment and payroll. So you think about that, that's pretty interesting. Well, I'd like to unpack that a little bit more. So what's going on next? Well, if you take a look at the next picture, I'm going to take a look at that by industry. So I'm going to look at the same picture, and I'm going to unpack that employment and payroll growth for 4 different industries that I happen to be interested in. I'm interested in finances, services, manufacturing, and education health. Those are the major industry categories. And so now what I'm able to do is to look to see which categories grew most and which industries did not grow as much. And what you can see in these pictures is telling a much more unpacked story. For manufacturing, there's quite a big spread. In other words, for some counties in Illinois, there was big growth in both employment and payroll, and in others there was negative growth. Education and health tends to have done better than manufacturing, so that's the storyline that you're also able to see. It's a bit more bunched, and it's a bit more bunched up to the upper right-hand side. Finance is doing better than manufacturing, so you can start to unpack the story, not by looking at the actual numbers, which are much harder to parse visually, but you can start to tell a story around that. Then maybe I'm wanting to see what's going on by different sets of characteristics. So you can look at those different markers. You can create different stories by having different keys, these or item. So this is by firm size. So I can look at employment by firm size. I can see most of employment is in services. And then, employment by industry, I can look at most of the employment is in services, and then I can unpack it by firm size. So the different shadings are going to show me how much employment in each one of these sectors is in the different firm sizes. So each one of these is conveying important information very clearly and without too much need to pass. So you could do a lot with the simple bar graph and with a simple scatter plot and convey lots of information. Quite often what you do is you want to convey very detailed information about a particular geography, and in those kinds of cases something called a heat map is a very good way of conveying information. You can use size in terms and color to indicate the intensity, in this case the number of jobs in a particular area, and you can show it by block level, which is the LEHD on the map data. And that's also very efficient. That tends to pop out to people. People like to see geography, and using choropleth graphs can get you there. Those points on a map. You can also show, remember one of the things that we identified as channels is the length of a line or the connection between 2 points. And so visually here, you can show network relationships just by having different nodes in a different location. And immediately you can look at that graph and you can see all the interrelationships of Illinois with other states. You can also see here what not to do. The next graph is a pie chart, and you can see that that's pretty ugly. It's not telling you as much information as you'd like it to tell, because you physically find it very difficult to compare the volumes of the slices of the pie chart. And so what we're going to do in the next set of presentations is to walk through many of the different design choices that you have and talk through the pluses and minuses of each.